Everyone, this is Kirei for Hey Little Magpie, and I am using the Simple Stories Happy Travels collection. And I'm also using elements from the Hey Little Magpie May and July embellishment kits. So I have a white cardstock background, and then I pulled out two of the pattern papers. I've got this sort of lined design here. It's the 2x2 4x4 elements paper, and I've just cut a piece to go on the top of my layout, and that will be really the base for my photos and embellishment clusters. Now I am sticking it down, but I have not put any tape along those bottom edges because I know I'm going to add some stenciling detail. So yeah, I've made it so that you can, get underneath the edge of the pattern paper. So I've got the Good Times paper. This is the one with all the green arrows. And then I have my photos. Now I have 12 photos here. I did have 15, but I did cull down 3. I just felt like it didn't quite work for me. So I'm just going to do 3 rows of 4 photos. And this is another layout in my US trip series, if you like. So it's another one I'm going to cross off my list because I think I've written down, I think I've got about 24 layouts I'd like to do. So this Happy Travels collection is obviously perfect. Yes, and these photos are from when we were staying in Memphis and we went out to Graceland, the home of Elvis Presley. And it was fabulous, a real highlight of our trip in Memphis. Yeah, it was really, really good, really amazing. House itself is actually quite small by celebrity standards, but it just feels like it's just stuck back in time because it's literally, decorated in like the 1970s. So yeah, but really, really cool to look around. Okay, so I've mounted my 12 photos and onto the pattern paper, distressed the edges. I've added my stenciling details. So you saw that I just tucked the stencil under, and this is one of the new Hey Little Magpie A5 stencils. There's 7 designs, and this one's called Street Map. So I thought it was perfect just to add a little bit of background detail on the white cardstock. Because the street map one's perfect for like a travel layout. So just a little bit of detail. I mean, I do end up covering a bit of it up, but that's fine. I like the bits that just sort of poke out, if you like. So, yeah. Okay, photos. Right. I've had a bit of play. I know what I'm going to do with my embellishment clusters. So now I'm going to get things stuck down. So I'm just adding foam tape along the top edge of my photo block, and then I'll leave it flat at the bottom. And I tend to do that because often when I'm embellishing, I'm adding embellishments over the top of the bottom of a photo, and at the top of the photo I'm tending to tuck them in underneath. So yeah, that's what I do, and I do like to get that dimension in as well. So I don't like to have everything stuck flat. Okay, so I've pulled out some elements from the bits and pieces, the ephemera packs, and I have got an embellishment cluster up on the top left there. I've added some waxed twine in a sort of green tone. It's a yellowy green tone, and I've added a bow around the tag at the top, and then I wrapped it around a few times as well. And that comes in the July embellishment kit. And then I've tucked in at the top, there's that little, you can see that yellow flower. It's a really lovely fabric flower sort of patch, but it felt sort of a bit, I say vintagey, but a bit, so I thought it would work really nicely with my photos of the house. Right, so bottom embellishment cluster. So I'm just layering up my pieces here. I've just added foam pads under the date piece there. And then the other elements I'm just sticking down. I'm just adding a bit of glue on the center so that I can lift the edges up. And then I brought in 3 of these little fabric flowers. Again, these are from the July embellishment kit, and the colors are perfect. So you've got the cream and you've got that sort of yellowy tone. So because the papers, the colors, I've got the sort of yellows, the greens, and a little pop of the sort of orange as well that I wanted to bring in. And then there's also a bit of navy that I've got in there too. So yeah, so the little fabric flowers are perfect. Oh, and I've just brought in, there's that little heart charm. I think you can just see it there. It's really lovely, actually. It's coloured and it's got little flowers in the heart in navy, yellow, and the orange. And that came in the May embellishment kit. And I knew when I was doing this layout, I thought, I know there's that charm that will work perfectly with this. So yeah. Then I've got the foam stickers, and I've just added in, I tucked in a geotag at the top and a few hearts at the bottom. And this is my title, Exploring. So I fiddled around with this for a while. I then realised my little paper plane that I've popped in there is actually over a little bit and it'll get hidden. So I've just sort of popped it off and then I can re-stick that down. Fiddle around with that title. I can't decide whether I like it straight or just on the angle. So it sits there for a while I make a decision. Okay, so here's my heart. I'm just figuring out where it's going to go, but it's just going to sit. I'm just going to hang it. We'll stitch it just below the fabric flowers. Okay, back to the foam stickers. So I've got paper clip there, and then there's a couple of like pins. I'm just going to pop onto some of the photos there. It's almost like they're pinned onto a board. What next? Okay, yes, I will stitch on my charm, and usually what I do, sometimes I do just add a glue dot, but quite often I just stitch it on with one stitch because I like the movement that it gets. So just stitch it through, tie it off at the back, and yeah, and then it's nice and secure. I always a little bit of tape on the back just to hide the threads or to cover the threads. Okay. Right, have I decided on my title, where it's going to go? No, I've moved it again. Okay, right, I've got the 12 by 12 cardstock stickers, and I am going to add a couple of the word phrases. So I've got photo op, and then life is a collection of memories, and I'm just going to add them over the photos because I felt like I could just add a little bit of detail there, but not too much. I've got a little yellow, well, actually no, it's a little orangey flower. I'm just going to add in over onto the right there just to bring in a pop of orange, and then to balance that I want to bring in a pop of orange to the top cluster as well. So I'm just having a look and seeing what I've got, but I end up using a little geotag from the cardstock stickers. So there I have it there. And then what I'm doing now is I'm actually just taking away the stick from the back of the stickers. I just have a little powder brush, and then I can just stick it in the center, and then I just have, it's curved up on the edges. Okay. Oh, I decided that I'd add my foam phrases on foam pads so that they were raised. Again, just adding the dimension. I do like to do that. And then I'm sort of getting down to the end. It sort of came together quickly once I'd figured out my photos and how I was going to place those. Actually, having all the embellishments and bits and pieces and the clusters, that worked really well. And to be fair, that's my favorite bit. Okay, finally, I'm adding the title. I went with the on the slant, which I'm glad. And then I'm just adding in Graceland. So it's Exploring Graceland. And these are the Doodlebug alphabet soup alphas. And I'm just adding these along the bottom. And then I'll pop my journaling below. I'll write that on off camera. But then that's it. It came together really, really quickly for me, which was brilliant. And here are the close-up details. I hope you've enjoyed watching the process video. Do check out the fabulous Hey Little Magpie embellishment kit, and of course the Simple Stories Happy Travels collection over in the store. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now.